Hey everyone, it's Coach Cogswell here. Okay, so today during prep week, I want to take the day and talk about nutrition. Excuse me, and kind of what my expectations are for nutrition throughout the next 80 days. I'm going to take kind of a little different approach than I've taken in the past with challenge groups because of what I've learned over the span of 3 years of doing these groups. So what I've seen historically, a lot of times people will they want to make a change. They're ready, they're fired up. And so we've dove in and we've done diet changes. We started drinking Shakeology, we started exercising, and it becomes almost overwhelming. And so many times, what I see people do, I mean, some people succeed and they can overhaul everything all at once. Others feel overwhelmed. They get into week one, they've missed maybe a workout, they've messed up on their nutrition, and they feel like they failed, so they just quit because it's just too much for them to take on at once. So what I want to do for the next 80 days is I want to take a different mentality approach to nutrition. Historically, what we've used is the 21 Day Fix containers, and I love these containers. I truly do. And if you're using the containers and you're being successful with them, keep using them, okay? So I encourage that because once we hit 80-day obsession come January, we're going to be using the containers. And they're going to be telling us when to eat and what to eat. And it's going to be very much mapped out for us. But to get us kind of, if you're new to this, to get you in the routine, what I want your goals for nutrition to be for the next 80 days is an 80-20 balance. Now, I say this a lot because I want people to be able to make this a lifestyle, and I don't want it to be so rigid that you don't feel like you can never ever enjoy anything. We have several holidays coming up. We have Halloween, we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, and we have New Year's. And you guys, I want you to be able to enjoy those. Life is meant to be celebrated, and our culture is very much one that is built around a lot of food, and that's okay for those events. But what I want you guys to learn over the next 80 days is how to eat in moderation, how to make smart choices, how to decide, is that really worth it today? So as we begin this journey, I want you guys to take kind of the approach of a whole food approach. And this is initially how I started. I started with just a whole food approach. I did not start with the containers when I initially started. And so essentially what I did was I cut out processed food. And I said, if it doesn't have a mother or grow in the ground, I'm going to not eat it. And that was kind of the approach that I initially took. Now, granted, I started that approach because of my son's food allergies, and that's what got me on to clean eating. But looking back, it was the perfect mentality and it works. And so essentially I started eating, any fruits, any vegetables, nuts, raw nuts, eggs, lean meats. Don't worry, you can still have your pork, you can still have some bacon, but have things in moderation. So that's what I want you guys to look at for the next 80 days. When you're planning out your meals, when you're looking at grabbing some snacks, what can I eat that is essentially whole foods? And look at ingredients labels. And I want you guys to start reading ingredients labels and look for foods that have 5 or fewer ingredients. That's kind of my rule of thumb. If it has 5 or fewer ingredients, I give it 2 thumbs up. Also, make sure when you're reading nutrition labels, like if you're picking up whole wheat flour, make sure that first word is 100% whole wheat flour. A lot of times people market things and they say whole wheat flour, but you look at the first ingredient and it's enriched wheat and it's not 100% whole. So read the ingredients label. Simple things like, why do we pick sea salt over table salt? Table salt is actually highly processed and it actually has some sugar in it, which is crazy, right? Who would have thought sugar would be added to table salt? So sea salt is less processed, plus it's just a stronger taste, and so a little bit goes a long way as opposed with table salt, you use a little bit more of that. So things like that is what we're going to educate ourselves on throughout the next 80 days. So I'll kind of throughout the entire time throw in some tips like this, like why do we pick sweet potatoes over a regular potato? Nothing's wrong with a regular potato, but in the hierarchy of things, the sweet potato is a little bit better just because it breaks down a little bit faster and some of those carbohydrates go into fuel as opposed to fat a little bit sooner, some of those things. So we're going to learn through all that for the next 80 days. But I want you guys really to just take a look, spend this next couple days as we're getting ready for the start of the group next week, to look at your diet throughout the week and say, am I eating very many whole foods? Or am I reaching for a lot of processed things? And maybe breakfast is where you are grabbing a Pop-Tart, or you're grabbing a white bagel, or you're having a bowl of cereal or something like that. So how can we change that? Maybe you start with just changing one meal a week. And you swap out your breakfast for eggs and some veggies, or some oatmeal, or your Shakeology, or something like that. But I just want you guys to look at your nutrition for the next couple of days and see, where do I typically grab the most unhealthy things during what points of my day, and why am I making those decisions? And then we can kind of start diving into, okay, so maybe snack time is where you're failing every time. You're grabbing a bag of Cheetos, you're grabbing a candy bar, you're grabbing a Starbucks, loaded mocha, something like that. Okay, so what are some ways we can replace that? I know a lot of people, Erin, who's in this group, when she first started with me, her thing every day at 2 o'clock was a diet soda. That was her thing. She then said, okay, I want to drop soda, and so I'm going to replace that with my Shakeology. So now her Shakeology is her 2 o'clock snack. Other people who are just on the go and they don't have time for breakfast and they were grabbing something through the drive-thru, they make their Shakeology on the way out the door. So I want you guys to kind of just think about that throughout the next week. But that's the approach we're going to take for nutrition. Like I said, if you're using the containers and they're working for you, keep using them. But if you're new to this, I want you guys to just start thinking in a whole foods mentality, okay? Secondly, the other thing I want you guys to think about is I want you guys, as we begin this journey, to get a food journal. And maybe it is just simply something as simple as a notebook. And of course, I have a kale notebook. Thank you, Erin Check. So maybe it's just something truly as simple as a plain notebook, okay? And you write down every day, here is my game plan. Here's what I have for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, okay? Or maybe you want to have more of a detailed approach. So this is one thing I use when I'm using the 21-day fix containers. And if you guys want any of these files, I'm happy to share them. So here I have, my breakfast, my snack, my lunch, snack, dinner, and then I can keep track of my containers. So if you're using the containers, maybe you want a template like this, okay? I can get that for you. Here's another idea I have for a template. This is one that I'm currently doing the Whole30, but this would work with any template, or excuse me, with any diet. It would work with exactly what you're doing. I love this, and I actually think I might share this in the group. So here you put your date. What day of our journey is this? And what are some non-scale victories? So maybe just eating whole food, you're finding that you're sleeping better, your skin's clearer, you have more energy, you're naturally waking up, you're pushing harder in your workouts. So thinking outside the box of just not seeing, outside of just seeing the number on the scale change or inches drop, what else are you feeling because you're choosing whole foods and because you're pushing play and because you're getting active? So I actually am going to load this into the group. And if you guys want this, I think this is a great resource for us to keep on hand every day. So non-scale victories, some thoughts for the day. And then here you have a column for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and your snacks. And then you can keep track of your water, your exercise. So it's a really good journal. So I'm going to share that with the group for you guys if you'd like to use that one as well. So I encourage you to think about two things as we start moving into the week. And I will post a meal plan as we get to Friday. But today I want you to think about, okay, so what are some areas that I'm struggling with? Where am I making poor choices? Comment below. Share with us. You know what? Breakfast is my struggle. Snacks are my struggle. Soda is my struggle. Chocolate is my struggle. Share with us that so that we can help you. And then secondly, I want you to find something that's going to work for you to use as a food journal, to journal what you're going to have for the next 80 days, because writing it down is such a huge eye-opener and it will make a huge difference. So that's where we're going to start today with nutrition. If you guys have questions, please let me know. That's 100% what I'm here for. I've learned so much over the last 3 years in regards to nutrition, and it's really passionate to me because you guys, nutrition changes so much. Like, I'm blown away by what nutrition has done for my body, my attitude. It's crazy how amazing nutrition can play a role in your overall well-being. So anyway, guys, that is our talk today on nutrition. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And if you guys have any questions, as always, please reach out to me. But we will talk more throughout the week. into nutrition, what equipment we're going to need, meal planning, meal prepping, all that. So I look forward to talking with you guys more. Have a great day. Bye-bye.